I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. Este é dos tongue twisters da língua inglesa. Você conhece algum? Neste vídeo, eu vou mostrar 10 deles que vão ser ótimos para a pronúncia do inglês. So there's a specific part of the speech we look at in language called articulation, or diction, depending on where you're learning about it, which is really crucial to achieving the correct pronunciation of words and making sure that we are understood easily. So there's no use really to know 1,000 words if you don't have any idea how to articulate even the basic ones among them easily. So since we start articulating different sounds when we're speaking different languages and changing how we articulate different sounds, it's completely normal to feel like pronunciation can be more challenging than it seems, and sometimes just downright hard. So in these cases, tongue twisters are a great tool to help familiarize ourselves with different sounds and changes in articulation in English. This will definitely help improve our overall pronunciation. So, vamos ver 10 deles. So, jumping into our first tongue twister, it's about Peter Piper. And this tongue twister is all about articulating those P's right next to each other. So, listen closely. I'll go through it once and then we'll break it down a little further. So, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers that Peter Piper picked? So you can tell that it's naturally, a little fun to speed up, which is normal with all tongue twisters. The key to learning better articulation and mastering any of these tongue twisters is just slowing it down line by line. So just for the first line, for example, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. You do that nice and slow, and then you just line them all up until you feel more comfortable speeding it up and saying, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. And you can tell that it's very fun, kind of natural to do this all in one breath. Moving on to our second tongue twister, you can use the same tools, slow it down later, but it goes like this. Betty Botter bought some butter, but she said the butter's bitter. So once again, Betty Botter bought some butter, but she said the butter's bitter. Moving on to our third tongue twister, as you can see that we're going through some different letters in the alphabet. The third one is all about F's. And it goes, frivolously fanciful Fannie, fried fresh fish furiously. Moving on to number 4, we'll add some T's into this tongue twister with F's. And we'll say, Fred fed Ted bread and Ted fed Fred bread. So once again, Fred fed Ted bread and Ted fed Fred bread. Moving on to number 5 is one of my favorite kinds of tongue twisters. They're very simple, and at least they look simple, and it usually involves some short phrase that becomes harder the more you repeat it. So for example, this one will usually tell people, I dare you to say it 3 times in a row. Now, the 3 words look pretty simple by themselves. She sees cheese, she sees cheese. All right, no, never mind. She sees cheese. Now try saying it 3 times fast in a row and see how many times it takes you before you can say that correctly. Se você está gostando deste vídeo, deixa seu like e se inscreva no canal. Number 6 is all about a cute little critter called a woodchuck, which kind of looks like a beaver. They're known for chewing wood. And this one is all about breaking it down and then speeding it up once again. And the tongue twister goes something like this. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? He would chuck as much as he could and chuck as much wood as a woodchuck would if a woodchuck could chuck wood. Number 7 is a little easier and it goes like this. Give Papa a cup of proper coffee in a copper coffee cup. Number 8 is a very difficult tongue twister for some people from the UK. And it's very easy once again when we break it down. I wish to wash my Irish wristwatch. And it becomes more of a tongue twister once we speed it up into a normal sounding sentence. I wish to wash my Irish wristwatch. It's a little hard for some people. Maybe it'll trip you up as well. Number 9 is also an old classic of a tongue twister. And it goes like this. Lesser leather, never weathered, wetter weather better. And lastly, number 10, our final tongue twister. If a dog chews shoes, whose shoes does he choose? And once again, if a dog chews shoes, whose shoes does he choose? Gostou de aprender estes trava-línguas do inglês? Tire alguns momentos do dia para praticá-los. E eu tenho certeza que sua pronúncia vai ficar mais limpa. Agora vou deixar um desafio para vocês. Grave um trava-língua desses em inglês e marque a Fluency Pass no Instagram para eu ver. See you later!